Welcome back to The Brief. A mixed start to the trading week on Wall Street. The Dow and the S&P clawing their way back from earlier losses to finish in the green. The Nasdaq fell modestly, and all this ahead of a challenging few days for stocks. Investors hoping to see real progress in trade negotiations soon. The White House saying Monday that talks with the UK are going well. We'll also get big earnings from the likes of Apple, Amazon, Meta and Microsoft. And at the end of the week, the latest US jobs report. Nvidia was the #1 big tech underperformer on Monday. Shares falling 2% on reports that China's Huawei is developing an AI chip to rival Nvidia's high-end processors. Well, Tuesday marks President Trump's 100th day in office. And a new CNN poll shows Americans are not happy. His approval rating is at 41%, the lowest for a newly elected president at this stage in at least 7 decades. Out of a whole host of issues, only one saw Mr. Trump narrowly in the positive, a slim 51% approval of his handling of gender identity and trans people. His approval rating also sinking on the economy and tariffs after his tariff announcement sent the stock market into a nosedive. Even on immigration, one of his signature policies, the president is underwater. Stephen Collinson joins me now for more on all of this. So good to have you with us, Stephen. So it's the eve of 100 days of Trump in office, his second term, and his ratings, according to that latest poll, are terrible, lowest in almost over 7 decades. It's a strong contrast to what we saw when he entered office. Just explain why.
I think a lot of this is to do with the style of Trump and the radical transformation he's trying to effect at home and abroad. There is a tradition, at least in modern presidencies, of new presidents or even second-term presidents overreading what they see as their mandate in the previous election. It was pretty clear that Americans in November 2024, they voted for a president who they thought could bring down grocery prices to alleviate some of the financial stress that they were facing. And the most signature policy that the president has adopted, adopting a tariff war, starting trade wars with other countries, looks like it's going to put prices up. So I think there is a fundamental disconnect there between what the president thinks he wants to do and what a lot of the country asked him to do when they elected him. Having said that, even as you pointed out, on one of his most traditionally popular issues, immigration, he's also underwater. Now, I think there's a lot of support in the country on the idea that the Biden administration didn't do enough to secure the southern border. Some of the policies the president has started to adopt, the mass deportations, stretching the rule of law in immigration and elsewhere, I think is also combining to wither away a lot of the independent support and untraditional Republican voters that Trump got in November last year, including some more minorities than Republicans usually get, more younger male voters than Republicans usually attract. So there's a lot of factors, but I think the rather extreme nature of Trump's leadership is perhaps not what voters wanted as they went through the campaign last year.
Yeah, and it's interesting, Stephen, when you look at the CNN poll versus other polls that have been done, whether from CBS or Fox or the Washington Post, they're all quite similar in that they all show that most Americans really don't approve of his handling of the economy, right?
Yeah, the economy has always been one of Trump's strongest points. If you go to Trump rallies, I've been to many of them, you ask people about why they support President Trump. They always mention sooner or later the fact that this guy is a great businessman. He understands the economy. Even though some of this was perhaps mythology and dates from his time on The Apprentice on NBC, this view is very powerful among people that vote for Trump. And I think there's also some nostalgia, or there was last year at least, for the pre-pandemic economy in Trump's first term. So that was, I think, very important in getting him re-elected. If he's at such low numbers on the economy right now, after only 3 months in office, and the full impact of the tariffs and the rising prices that we expect have not yet come into force, you do wonder how low he can go. I mean, he's really right now 41%. That's about the size of Trump's traditional, loyal, devoted base. And I think a follow-on question to that is, how does Trump respond to this? A normal president might change course. Trump obviously doesn't have to seek re-election. He doesn't have to face voters, but Republicans do in just over a year's time in the November midterm elections next year. So there's going to be a lot of concern in Republican ranks, but Trump doesn't seem to be the kind of president who changes his mind. In fact, he said in an interview with The Atlantic magazine that was published today that I run the country and I run the world. And he seems adamant that that's continued to be the case, at least in his own mind.
Yeah, exactly, especially when it comes to his views of blanket tariffs, right?
Yep.
We'll leave it there for now. Stephen Collinson, I suspect we might talk again tomorrow. Thanks so much.
Thanks.